Ne treba mi. Ići ću odavde. Lakše mi. Ok. Ako ga ne podešavamo, ako će se ok čuti odavde, ja... Ok. Svakako, neću da se pomeram, pričali smo o tome, nemam interaktivno, kao Nemanja, da pokazujem rukama, da se okrećem, stojim za govornicom i pričam. Videla sam super izgleda.
Jedan, dva, jedan, dva, jedan, dva.
Ali vidiš kad budeš možda samo priključiti. Ok. A napravit ću. Već je uključeno.
Can I ask you to take a seat, please, so we can start? Thank you. Distinguished guests, Your Excellencies, dear colleagues and friends, welcome to the Republic of Serbia Pavilion. Our great pleasure is to welcome you here in our time capsule that will take you to the time, spaces, and the various dimensions. Today, we are about to start our second investment conference on the topic of automotive, rail industry, and the chemical industry. We have a great lineup of speakers, a great and effective content. I'm also using the opportunity to say a hello, a big hello, and a big welcome to our delegates watching us online from across the globe. And at the end of the sessions, there will be time for questions and answers from our side. So if anyone has questions, please wait until the end. For the beginning, it is my great pleasure to invite the first Prime Minister and the Minister of Education, Science and Technological Developments, His Excellency, Mr. Branko Ružić, please to address the audience.
Distinguished participants of the conference, ladies and gentlemen, it is of course my great pleasure to be here today and to be honored to open this investment conference. This is of course an opportunity to present the potential of Serbia and investment opportunities at the place, of course, where innovative solutions from all over the world are presented, as well as to attract the attention of new investors who are ready to invest in high technology and other important projects in our country. In recent years, our country has become a place where new innovative projects and solutions are developed. Research and development and innovation centers, business and technology incubators, and science and technological parks are established, which represent a place where young people can present and realize their innovative ideas in practice. Education and scientific research are expensive investments, but they are also the most profitable ones, the most promising, and of course, most importantly, they have no alternative. In the era of modern technologies and digitalization, Serbia strives to strengthen its position in the field of innovation and therefore implements incentive measures. Serbia recognized the importance of artificial intelligence in time and is the first country in the region of Southeast Europe to adopt the strategy for the development of artificial intelligence. We have also established the Institute for Artificial Intelligence in Novi Sad, which will bring together experts in the field of artificial intelligence. We are also continuously working on improving education at all levels, but also creating conditions for the development of science and research. In the previous period, the government of the Republic of Serbia adopted a number of strategic documents which are the foundation and direction for the improvement of innovative and scientific activities. I will only mention the strategy of scientific and technological development called the power of knowledge, the strategy of smart specialization, and the strategy of artificial intelligence, and of course, the strategy of development of education and upbringing until 2030. A few days ago, the government also adopted a strategy for the development of startup ecosystems of the Republic of Serbia from 2021 to 2025. All these documents are instruments for improving scientific innovation and research activities. Investments in innovations in industries and e-mobility bring also the improvement of education and science, as well as better cooperation of companies with the education system and institutions in Serbia. As you all know, all that mentioned is the key to create a technologically advanced and economically successful society. The Science Fund and the previously established Innovation Fund provide financial support to scientific research organizations and the economy for the development of innovations. The regional network of science and technological parks at 4 locations in Belgrade, Novi Sad, Niš, and Čačak was created as a space that allows companies and talents from around the world to connect with universities and innovative companies in Serbia. These science and technology parks offer product development laboratories, a network of mentors, a stimulating business environment, networking with potential investors, opportunities for knowledge exchange, and full support in the implementation of all supporting activities required for faster development. As an indicator of the progress of the innovation system of the Republic of Serbia, the fact that on the list of 131 countries in the world, measured by the Global Innovation Index from 2020, the Republic of Serbia is positioned at the 53rd place, which indicates evident progress from 57th position the previous year. Another way to compare the results of the innovation system in the Republic of Serbia and other countries is the Summary Innovation Index, which is published in the European Commission's European Innovation Scoreboard and expresses performance in relation to the average of EU member states. According to the Summary Index of Innovation, the Republic of Serbia is seen in relation to the countries of the European Union as a moderate innovator, but at the same time, it is a country with rapid growth and development of the innovation ecosystem. For 5 years in a row, the Republic of Serbia has had a growth in exports of ICT services of over 20% as of 2019, which reflects the growth of the ICT industry. At the Week of Knowledge and Learning, we have representatives of renowned educational institutions from Serbia, including the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering and the Faculty of Chemistry, and the Vinča Institute, and many more. This here is also an opportunity to present our national model of dual education as a way of connecting the education system and the economy. The dual education system provides a more efficient response of the education system to the needs of the economy and the labor market, technological change, and the need for the new competencies. The national model of dual education in Serbia has proven to be very useful, flexible, and promising. From year to year, the number of students, schools, and companies is growing, and the awareness of companies about the need for dual education has matured faster with the aim of providing quality staff. The system of dual education includes, up until now, over 10,000 students, while the number of dual education profiles, which are implemented in 150 secondary vocational schools, has grown to 54. The implementation of this type of education raises the quality of acquired knowledge and skills and creates a system where qualifications really represent the expression of acquired competences which ultimately leads to increased employability of young people. Therefore, the economy, by investing in education, invests in its future employees and solves the problem in terms of personnel in the long run. Considering the effects of the law on dual education at the level of secondary education, the law on dual models of studies in higher education and standards for accreditation of study programs according to the dual model of studies were adopted also. More and more companies are coming as a condition for a developed system of dual education, and their commitment to Serbia as a country in which they want to expand the production process shows that the national model of dual education is going in the right direction and is of course complementary with the aim to present Serbia as a very attractive investment destination. I am of course convinced that the presentation of Serbia's potential for investments in various fields will attract the attention of new investors who will see the benefits of investing in Serbia. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Minister Ružić. Now, let's start with the first part of the conference. My pleasure to invite Mr. Nemanja Jevtović, Strategic Advisor with the Development Agency of Serbia. Nemanja, please.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. On behalf of the government team that is in charge for foreign direct investments in Serbia, it is my great honor and privilege to be in front of you today. Your Excellencies, dear investors, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Invest in Serbia presentation. In order to, of course, explain what is Serbia, we need to answer two major questions: who we are and where we are. First, let's start with who we are. We are the country of many talents, as you can see. Scientists, sportsmen, all around the world present, right from Serbia. But also we are the country of natural heritage and cultural heritage, both traditional, but also the modern one, such as Exit Festival, the best festival of music in Europe, for example. Where we are located in the very heart of Balkans. We are very blessed with our location, connecting west on the east and east on the west. And with our highway infrastructure, we really want to remain that. As you can see here, our new slogan, to be the modern gateway between East and West. This was always Serbia, and this will be always Serbia. So in order to understand better actually Serbia, let's go into a very brief but precise overview of our major stats. First of all, Serbia is in the EU accession process, of course. But what is more important today for this conference is that in 2019, we were ranked global #1 in foreign direct investment attractiveness by Financial Times. In 2020, we managed to remain #1 even though we were hit by COVID. By IBM Global Location Trends, we were ranked 3 years in a row world #1 location in foreign direct investments. This is really unheard of for any country in our region. 47 places up on the World Bank Doing Business list from 2015. Prior COVID, we're ranked actually 44th globally, as you can see. World #9 in dealing with construction permits. And finally, Serbia testifying what we just said, west on the east and east on the west. No visa regime that applies for over half of the entire population of the earth. Guys from the United States, Russia, India, China, they all don't need visa to enter Serbia. There are major 7 reasons why we think that you should invest in Serbia. I will very briefly and quickly go through these reasons, as of course, we'll have more time to discuss about them in the Q&A session and after actually this conference. So we start firstly with political and economic stability. As you can see here, CNN, BBC News, they were writing all about our major vaccination success that we had actually at the beginning of the pandemic. Prior to that, the major thing in Serbia was the unexpected tech boom, and The Economist was writing about that. As you can see here, the economic indicators, Serbia had the lowest GDP drop in entire Europe of -1% in 2020. And we have the highest projected growth rate by IMF of 7% in 2021. Inflation rate, very stable, 1.3%, does not fluctuate that much. Unemployment rates, please bear with me now. We managed to triple down the unemployment rate from 2012 up until this point where we have around 10% of unemployed people. Import and export, as you can see here, these two curves were actually on a very stable incline. Unfortunately, due to pandemic, we had a slight drop, but we are expecting this to go even further. Then the second major thing why we think that you should invest in Serbia is foreign direct investments. So as I said, we are the absolute leaders of attracting foreign direct investment, not just in Balkans, but in Europe. And in 2019, we're in the entire world. You can see here that in 2019, we reached the national record of 3.8 billion euros of foreign direct investments. And this actually pool of investors testifies once again that thing that I just mentioned, West and the East and East and the West. You here have Microsoft and Continental from the Western Hemisphere, but also you have investors from Eastern Hemisphere, Linglong Tires, Toyo Tires, etc. Third major thing, competitive operating costs. Very briefly, we'll go through it. So labor costs, corporate profit tax, office space per month, and electricity costs. If you compare us to Western Europe, this is really tremendous. We are so competitive, like no one in this region. If we compare ourselves to Eastern Europe, we can see the same trend. We are also competitive in this part of the world. And this is exactly the reason why we had such a tremendous success of attracting foreign direct investments recently. We go to the very heart of our presentation, what just Minister said, and that is the world-class talent pool. So as you can see here, we have 18 universities with 130 faculties, very strong background in engineering, IT, physics, and mathematics. And because of that, in 2019, we were ranked 22nd in respect to graduates in science according to Global Innovation Index. Top 500 for Shanghai ranking previously for the University of Belgrade, and top 200 in physics and mathematics solidifies our case. You can see here that we have around 250,000 active students, out of which more than a half are women. We are very proud of the ratio women-men that we have in our country. And as you can see here, 35%, or roughly speaking, around 85,000 people are having STEM degrees. We are really trying to become high-tech nation. In order to understand better actually our talent pool, we also need to consider the secondary education in Serbia, or how we call it high school education. Why is that the case? Because we adopted famously known dual education system from Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. So guys in Serbia, they're attending their high schools, are going to theoretical classes 3 days per week, and 2 days they're having an internship in a firm that is a partner company of a school. The high school training centers are located and dispersed across Serbia, and we decentralized as much as possible this system. So in Northern Serbia, you have, for example, EV battery center. In Central Serbia, you have tech schools. In Southern Serbia, you have textile, etc., etc. And in the afternoon hours, this is very important, these high school training centers serve as a pre-qualification centers for elders. We are targeting elders too. We really think that they should have a chance. Examples of this dual education system are tremendous in our country, and we actually took 3 most prominent ones. MTU Aero Engines in Northern Serbia. The guys there have National Training Center. They're doing the repairing of Rolls-Royce motors and engines for aircrafts. The second benchmark here is from the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering. So we have ZF sponsoring Formula One team. And finally, the third benchmark, AI Institute and Continental in Novi Sad, the capital of Northern Serbia. Their partnership was tremendous. The unemployment rate, this here is just to testify that we have over 280,000 people that are still registered as unemployed. When we say triple down the unemployment rate, people would sometimes would say, oh, but you will hit the rock bottom. No, don't worry. We have still over 280,000 people that are registered as unemployed. And the majority of people is coming from the age group between 15 to 34. This actually, once again, solidifies our case that we have the right and ready talent pool for you, not an aging population or, population that is too young. On the opposite side, 60% of unemployed are actually having high school degrees. This is exactly why I said that high school education and dual system is so important for our country. We were ranked 15th in the entire world in speaking English language. We are so proud of this. Two major reasons for this. English language in Serbia is mandatory from the primary school grade, and also we don't have dubbed content, so you will hear John Travolta speaking actually native on the TV in Serbia. Finally, we have wonderful representatives of science technology parks from Serbia. We opened 4 tech parks that serve actually as a tech hubs in Belgrade, Niš, Čačak, and Novi Sad, and I guess that they can actually answer all of your questions that you have after we finish the investment conference. We now go to a very important topic for us. This is actually where the reflection of Serbia as a modern gateway between East and West can be seen most definitely. And that is the access to 1.3 billion of consumers from the country of 7 million people. How is it possible? Please bear with me now, especially the friends from UAE. We are the only country in this part of the world that has a free trade agreement with Russian Federation, at the same time free trade agreement with European Union, without any repercussions and any sanctions. We had trade agreement with the UK, preferential agreement of trade with USA, Japan, Australia, and free trade agreement with Turkey. So when you combine all these markets, you get the access to 1.3 billion of consumers from the country of just 7 million people. Finally, we're concluding our presentation with our geographic location, and once again solidifying the case that Serbia, with its highway system, is phenomenal. We have a highway system like any other country in our neighborhood. And you can see here that over 1,000 kilometers of highway is actually under construction currently. 60 million of passenger vehicles went through prior COVID per year to our country. Once again, solidifying the case that we are the focal point between West and East. Railway infrastructure, we have some of the biggest infrastructure projects in Europe. I would just mention that we are now building, and soon it will be opened, the new speed, actually railway tracks connecting Belgrade directly to Novi Sad and then to Budapest. Speaking about our air connectivity, from Belgrade you can reach every EMEA location in less than 3 hours. So London, Moscow, everything is reachable in less than 2.5 hours. We have a direct flight to New York too from Belgrade. On the opposite side, I'll just give one example. If you send 3 lorries in a day to 3 different directions to the world, one will reach the outskirts of Russia, one will reach the outskirts of France, and one will reach Ankara, the capital of Turkey. Our position is really something remarkable, and we really don't take it as a granted. Finally, because we don't take this as a granted, we have the initiative of Open Balkans. Currently, we're negotiating with Northern Macedonia and Albania to open the borders in a unified system of trade of goods, services, people, and capital. So we will have over 17 million of people actually there in one singular market, with a total GDP exceeding 112 billion of US dollars. Finally, states' benefits and incentives. Obviously, this is a topic that should be discussed face to face. I will just give you now a brief overview of what do we have here. Cash incentives, various tax holidays, various tax reliefs for R&D, for building your intellectual property in Serbia, for importing equipment, etc., etc. We really have one-of-a-kind incentive options here in our country. Finally, we go to the free zones. We have 15 free designated zones, something that can be seen here in Dubai too, in which you will have completely VAT-free exemption on goods, trade of goods, and energy consumption. And ladies and gentlemen, this was the Invest in Serbia presentation, but we will hang out a bit more. But I won't go. Unfortunately, I won't go. So we will hang up a bit more actually with the automotive industry and the rail industry. I will just give you a short update on what we have done in our country. And of course, you will hear from the guys that are in the heart of this industry later on. So we start with the automotive sector. The automotive sector is the #1 FDI sector in our country. It has the turnover of astonishing 4 billion euros per year. And we have around 70,000 people that are employed in this industry. We are very thankful on these figures because we have such a strong heritage. Over 80 years of tradition of making vehicles. From the end of Second World War, or 1954 till 2008, we produced 5 million of vehicles. And in the peak number, we reached 200,000 people that were employed in this industry. For the country of our side, this is such a high number. And because of this, and because of our tremendous success that we had, we are very proud to say that we now have completely wide tier 1 ecosystem ready in Serbia. And okay, so just to give you a perspective how we started, where we ended, because we need to understand the history in order to go to future. Very briefly, in 1923, Chevrolet actually had truck assembly in Serbia. 1953, Jeep came to Serbia. In 1954, Fiat started the production, famously in our heart of Šumadija, Kragujevac. In 1970, we had domestic industry that were producing 85,000 cars, 10,000 trucks, etc. In 1971, Zastava, actually our famous brand and famously known throughout the world model, Zastava 101, started the production, 1971. In 1977, we managed also to attract Opel here. But in 1981, we actually introduced something that resonated so much with our automotive industry, and that is Yugo, our famous brand that even actually got the screen on a Hollywood scene. Finally, in 1980s, we had the golden years of our automotive industry, 300,000 cars per year, 25,000 trucks per year. I really have goosebumps when I'm saying about this, because these were really the times. And then we went through transition. After transition, the major point when we returned back was Fiat was back. Fiat actually came to Serbia in 2008. They invested over 900 million euros up to this point, and they're currently employing over 2,000 people there. They were producing famously known 500L model in our country. And after Fiat, we managed to attract so many more investors. So as you can see here, this is the map of high-tech tier 1 suppliers and OEMs. There's probably no brand in automotive world that is not present in Serbia currently. As you can see here, speaking about these brands and the parts of vehicles, you can see them all over the place. So we are ready completely to produce the entire car just from Serbia. And this was, of course, thanks to the performance in the last 3 years. I would just give you an example here. So ZF, Brose, Continental, Bosch, Toyota tires, MTU air engines, even though they're from different industry, Xingyu, Meica, Forwerk, BMTS, Mint, those were the investments that were driving actually our performance. And because of this, we think that we are now ready to enter to the new era of investments, how we call them, the most sophisticated investments that are actually relating to electric vehicles. And if you remember these 7 reasons that I mentioned, invest in Serbia, we just put 5 more on top of them. I will go very briefly with them. So there are 5 more reasons on top of these 7 that we think that you should invest in Serbian EV sector. The first is EV value chain and supplier ecosystem. In Serbia, we are very proud to say that we can supply the entire world with electric drive systems for ZF, Brose, and Nidec, EV batteries soon to be actually produced in 11S, Jura with CMC module, battery harness in Kyungshin, Mint with battery housing, and of course we have a tremendous potential in copper cathodes and lithium mining and refining. Secondly, we go to EV battery related investments in Serbia. This is the second major reason why we think that you should invest here. So these guys from the value chain, they're present here. 11S, supported by Energy, will employ 2,000 people, and they will produce, as you can see here, LFP lithium-ion batteries in northern Serbia. Nidec will produce electric motors and plans to invest 1 billion of euros in Serbia. ZF already producing fantastic electric drive system for electric and hybrid vehicles at 200 million euros of investment. Brose, 180 million of investment. Vehicle electronics pumps and electric motors are produced in the suburb area, wide suburb area, how we call it, of Belgrade, which is Pančevo. Guys from Pančevo, please don't get offended. Mint, vehicle body parts, EV battery housings with 100 million of euros. Kyungshin Cable, electric vehicle battery harness with 20 million of euros of investment. Euro Corporation with CMC module, electric vehicle battery parts, over 100 million of euros invested into Serbia. This was the second reason why we think that you should actually go to this and hop on this trend. The third thing is access to renewable energy. We are very proud of the fact that in Serbia, we inherited so much of the infrastructure from the past that is related to renewable energy, and we are doing so much for the future. As you can see here in the pipeline, we have 4 gigawatts of new renewables that will be installed in future in Serbia. For example, if we consider 3 pillars of renewable energy, and we'll start with hydro, we'll have actually Đerdap 1 hydropower plant that we are sharing with our Romanian neighbors. We have over almost 6 terawatts per hour of hydroelectricity there in a year. We have solar energy, for example, in northern Serbia to be installed. This will be sponsored and completely done by MK Group in Serbia. We'll have 832 gigawatt hours of capacity. And this will be the first agro-energy project in Europe. So we will actually combine the agrarian part with the solar panels. Finally, we go to wind compartment. As you can see here, Chibuk 1, the wind farm, currently is the biggest renewable project in Serbia. These are some stats, but more importantly, we have here some of the UAE friends. So Masdar invested there as a partner. Finally, we have some ongoing initiatives in this sector. So as you can see, we are building new law on organized industrial zones, European Battery and Raw Material Alliance membership. We are being part of that. New regulations, we are constantly improving to increase the green energy and green mining in Serbia. Green agenda for Western Balkans also. So we are supporting the Green Deal with this initiative. And finally, electric vehicle infrastructure incentive for cars. We are preparing actually the package for this. And we conclude actually this main thing with the prime investment locations in Serbia. I'll be very happy to elaborate about these locations in the Q&A session. I will just give you an example that we have 2 major locations that we think that you should consider. One is Ćuprija, which is actually in the center of Serbia between Kragujevac and Niš. They have almost 500,000 people that are active workforce there. We have for you over 468 hectares of available land. And in India, which is the capital, which is actually in between the capital of Belgrade and also Novi Sad, the capital of northern Serbia, we have 1.5 million of people there as an active workforce, and we have 740 hectares available for you. So this was roughly speaking about this industry, and I will just have 3 more slides with rail, and I will be very pleased actually to invite guys from Kragujevac to step here. So rail industry also is very connected to the EV industry. As you can see here, we have a very nice tradition, over 135 years of tradition of making rail in Serbia. Started from Niš, then we had northern Serbia production, as you can see, all over the place actually, not just in the late 19th century, but also in the beginning of the 20th century and the mid of the 20th century. And of course, this was the heritage, but the question is, what is today? And today, we are very proud to say that Siemens actually is present in Serbia with, as you can see here, over 880 people that are employed there. They're producing rare vehicles in a famously known mine park that you will hear more about. We also have Skoda, which actually opened its business unit in Serbia in November 2021, KEF in March of 2020, and also very important to say that currently in Serbia, for example, in Kragujevac, AMM manufacturing clients are Stadler, ABB, Siemens, Hydra, Hitachi. So top tier 1 producers of the world. In the ongoing initiatives department, you can see here that Serbia is investing 5 billion of euros in several projects on Corridor 10 for 770 kilometers of the railway. We are also modernizing and reconstructing over 1,000 kilometers of railway systems in Serbia. And finally, we will have the regional terminal in Belgrade, the intermodal terminal that will actually serve the customers from all over the world. So this was a bit longer presentation of mine, I guess, than the last time. It was my great pleasure and privilege, really. But now we will go to the focal point of these two industries, automotive and rail. And there's no better place in our country to start than from the city of Kragujevac. And of course, the mayor will join us, but let's firstly just watch a bit of a short movie that we prepared for you.
Smart City. It was named after the bird Kragu. Located between the hills of Šumadija in the heart of Serbia, inhabited in the Neolithic era. The first capital of modern Serbia and the cradle of Balkan industry. Known worldwide as the seat of the military and auto industry, today it is the most important point of the high-tech and rail industry. Kragujevac transferred centuries into a QR code. Geographical, political, economic, financial, health, educational, cultural, tourist and sports center of central Serbia. Kragujevac is positioned in the heart of Serbia, at the crossroads of main state roads and highways, between railway and road corridors 10 and 11 that connect Kragujevac with the rest of Serbia and Europe. With the construction of the Gruza corridor, which connects Western and Eastern Serbia, Kragujevac became the hub of all the important Serbian roads, only 20 minutes away from the nearest airport. The construction of the northern bypass Smart City. It was named after the bird Kragu. Located between the hills of Šumadija in the heart of Serbia, inhabited in the Neolithic era. The first capital of modern Serbia and the cradle of Balkan industry. Known worldwide as the seat of the military and auto industry, today it is the most important point of the high-tech and rail industry. Kragujevac transferred centuries into a QR code. Geographical, political, economic, financial, health, educational, cultural, tourist and sports center of central Serbia. Kragujevac is positioned in the heart of Serbia, at the crossroads of main state roads and highways, between railway and road corridors 10 and 11 that connect Kragujevac with the rest of Serbia and Europe. With the construction of the Gruza corridor, which connects Western and Eastern Serbia, Kragujevac became the hub of all the important Serbian roads, only 20 minutes away from the nearest airport. The construction of the northern bypass brings numerous opportunities for new industrial zones, residential, business, and spaces for other purposes. Same as Serbia, Kragujevac is trending the European path in every segment, primarily in creating a favorable business environment. The industrial tradition, almost 2 centuries long, is the foundation of today's economic life of the city. As the basis for their further development, Kragujevac was chosen by Fiat Chrysler Cars, Siemens, Mine Group, Yanfing, Technia, Magel, Fortico, Heidelmeier, Metro, Lidl, and many other companies. Kragujevac is the seat of important institutions of the Republic of Serbia, centers of excellence with a stem cell bank and state data center. The most modern data bank, which has officially made Kragujevac the best and safest place to store the most important state data. The data center was also trusted by commercial users: American IBM, Chinese Huawei, Oracle, IGO, Comtrade, Orion Telecom, SOX, Post Office, Radio Television of Serbia, and Telecom of Serbia. Kragujevac is on the path of progress. New industrial zones, including Phoenix and Mine Park, fully equipped with infrastructure, are waiting for future investors, and the local administration is ready to meet the demands of investors as soon as possible. Mine Park, which is located only 12 kilometers from Kragujevac, and which was declared a project of national importance, was designed as a small town. Phoenix Industrial Zone is a greenfield location at the entrance to the city, only 500 meters from the highway, which offers land for industrial and work zones under more suitable conditions. Kragujevac has opened its doors wide to everyone who recognizes our positive vibes, has a vision and wants business success, healthy competition, and profit.
And now it is my great and profound privilege to welcome here Mr. Nikola Dašić, the first man of the city of Kragujevac, Your Excellency, the Mayor.
Thank you, Nemanja. Thank you for a great presentation and great introduction. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear entrepreneurs and dear investors, I am delighted to have the opportunity to address such a distinguished audience on the behalf of the city of Kragujevac, which is, as Nemanja mentioned in the main presentation, the historical center of Serbian high-tech mobility industry and the administrative center of Šumadija as a region. The city that is cradle of industry on the Balkans is well known for the production of the armaments and defense industry and automobiles. We are now making a step forward in our rich history and industrial tradition, this time in the high-tech industry and rail manufacturing. Part of that production was included in the film you have just seen, underlying the transformation of Kragujevac based on the most precious resources, people, and ideas. Our country's presentation at Expo 2020 Dubai is under the motto, Serbia creates ideas inspired by the past, shaping the future. Kragujevac is the best example of using tradition to create the new heritage. I have the honor to say that today we are one of the leaders in innovations, digitalization, e-administration, talent, and creativity. Kragujevac achieved everything mentioned with the strong support of the President of Serbia, Mr. Aleksandar Vučić, and the Prime Minister, Ana Brnabić. Their dedication and efforts enabled Serbia to become recognizable and the fastest growing economy in the Western Balkans. The leader in attracting foreign direct investments in Europe, but also the powerhouse in the ICT sector and the leader in digitalization. State-of-the-art digital data bank called National Data Center in Kragujevac, including artificial intelligence and big data solution, is the best proof for this. We are also proud of the Mine Park, a unique center of competences in the fields of rail, high-tech, and aviation industry, which strongly contributes to the technological and economic development of the city of Kragujevac and Serbia in general. New economic landscape of Kragujevac and its numerous opportunities are the catalyst for the change and the additional motive to invest in our city. Welcome to Kragujevac. Now, please allow me to introduce Ms. Ana Račić, business manager of my group, who will present the project of strategic importance to Serbia and Kragujevac Mine Park. Ana, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an honor of presenting Mine Park today, and I hope you're all comfortable seated because we are about to depart from Dubai and transfer to Kragujevac. Welcome to Mine Park, the integrated technology, production, and logistics hub in Southeastern Europe. Mine Park has a unique location that makes connection with the rest of the world very easy. What are the options to connect? We are going to have our own airport, connection to the international railway corridor, and a highway. Transferring goods and services could be difficult. That's why we have all necessary processes at one place, from dry port to the logistics hub to ease your business development. Today, I'm going to share one of many successful stories with you about world's most prestigious companies that wanted to be a part of Mine Park. When you think of any place of the globe, what do you think of first? What makes that place special? People. Serbia has well-educated people that are open to expand their capability by expanding their knowledge and learning new techniques. Our infrastructure is a connection of urban and rural, state of art and tradition. Quality of life in Serbia is highly improved, one of many reasons why our successful stories are still growing. When comparing and contrasting the lifestyle, investment, and the workforce costs of Serbia to any other place in the globe, at the end of the research, you will be happy to find out that the value for money that you get in Serbia, you can't get anywhere else in the world. Serbian culture is well known by their hospitality, which is transferred to our work ethics as well. We are ready to build the golf court in the near future, and that's what makes us so unique. We always try, when presenting the investment options, we connect business and pleasure. So why us? Why invest in Serbia? Mine Park offers a broad range of services and facilities enabling your business. Our very first tenant and corporation that gave us their trust was Siemens. Such a successful company decided to become a part of Mine Park, and they officially became our partners in 2019. The greenfield location was a green light for them. Each company has its own standards, rules, and regulations they go by. Per their request, we made a building that completely satisfied all their requirements. When investing, an investor wants to go through the process as easy as possible. In a foreign country, you need someone to guide you, introduce you to all necessary steps for business startup process. On one side, our team is working on creating, designing, and building the new home for the company. And on the other hand, we are working side by side with government, city, and local offices in order to fulfill the needed legal requirements. The business setup package will include HR, IT, maintenance, and security, consulting, and hiring in all areas that are needed for a business setup. We are surrounded by a green field of beauty, which makes working from Mine Park even more satisfying. From 2018, where we were on this picture, this is our home today. We have 55,000 square meters built on over 160 hectares of land, and we are not stopping in making, creating, and expanding our ideas. Therefore, the plan for the year 2024 is 205,000 square meters to be built, and that makes 300 million euros of investment. Investing in education is investment for the future. We support our universities and education systems in general. We believe that if you give young people an opportunity to grow, learn, speak up their mind, they will be happy to improve the quality of life in Serbia, and most importantly, the quality of life will go upwards. With significant experience in educating high-profile blue-collar workers and strategic cooperation with universities and high schools, we are providing a pool of well-educated employees trained in areas such as CNC operator, locksmith, welders, and industrial mechanics. Every year, we have an open day for students to come, get introduced, and learn about what we do. An open day step ahead when choosing a major. Each year, more and more students decide to choose the major they learned about in the Mind Park. Every few months, we organize case studies, hackathons, and competitions in order to challenge their minds. The vision of Mind Park is to have all at one place. Therefore, we created all the necessities such as restaurant, kindergarten, hairdresser, sports zone, and polyclinic and diagnostic center. It is of the highest importance to create environment for the companies and innovators. Great cooperation with the Republic will in the near future result with establishment of public-private partnership in Science Technology Park in Mind Park. At one place, you can find the Institute, R&D, and innovation capacities under one roof. In modern reality, IT infrastructure, state data center located in the city of Kragujevac, as you heard from the major, our own private data center for the needs of our tenants is our answer to the virtual business environment. As the technology doesn't stop expanding, our IT department is extremely lucky to share space and knowledge with IT tenants of Mind Park. Next to Siemens, Mind Park is recognized by our partners such as Austrian Autolift, Czech Skoda, Spanish CAF, and Serbian IMM Manufacturing. Also, there are many more. So we came to an end of the presentation, and I will leave you with the idea that the Mind Park is a starting point, the springboard for an innovative, advanced future with many options to invest. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. This was actually the part of the first presentation on the topic of the automotive and rail industry. Now continue with the same pace. My pleasure to invite Ms. Dunja Vukcevic, Director of the Sector for Organized Industrial Zones of the Development Agency of Serbia. Please.
So thank you very much, Igor. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very, very delighted to present you with the short but very precise overview of just one moment to start. No, it doesn't. I'm really sorry. So overview of the industrial chemical landscape in Serbia. So actually, we believe that chemical industry in Serbia is shaped by the slogan, strong roots, strong performance. So we'll start with those performances. I'm really sorry. So I would like. So I would like to start with those performances. First, there are 2,300 companies that actually drives that performances within chemical industry. Also, they generate turnover that goes to almost 12,000 billion euros. So we may say that chemical industry in Serbia is actually the cornerstone industry and the backbone of the whole processing industry in Serbia. Of course, none of this wouldn't be possible without great effort of 72,000 active employees within chemical industry of Serbia. So let me now go back to that strong heritage part of the quote. So there is over 60 years of strong industrial heritage in manufacturing basic chemicals, petrochemicals, detergents, plastic products, etc. Also, how strong chemical industry is testify the facts that the first and second largest national exporter actually comes from the chemical value chain. So those are Zijin smelting complex and HBIS steel mill that completely rely and rest upon the chemical national value chain. And for the last fact figures, 2020 inflow in FDIs goes to approximately 1.5 billion euros. So definitely we may conclude that the chemical industry is a cornerstone industry in Serbia. So this is our actually result. So we created wide ecosystem that actually consists of the greatest chemical majors. And one of them is our today's keynote speaker, actually Serbian Elixir Group. So we are very proud to say that Serbian Elixir Group is on the forefront of tier 1 supplier base in Serbia. So now I would like to present you with some most notable recent investment that actually Serbia has recently attracted. So we have globally known Henkel with the notable product of construction glues, household chemicals that has invested almost 350 million euros in Serbia. Then well-known Messer within industrial gases production, and of course, two most distinguished tire producers within Western and Eastern Hemisphere. So Toyo Tires and Michelin that in overall have invested around 900 million euros in Serbia. So what is actually the foundation of all this success? It is definitely our world-class talent pool as the greatest advantage that Serbia actually has. So I will briefly go through the main statistic that is related to university education and notable institutions potential. So just to reaffirm what Nemanja said, we have the total pool of active students that goes to almost 250,000 students. 35% of them are actually STEM students. In terms of chemical industry, we have 9 faculties with chemical related majors. Also, we have 7 really renowned national institutes and 2 nationally established training centers for vocational education and pre-qualification programs. So today we are very proud to say that in this room we have very representatives of these notable institutions. I would like to mention only a few of them. So Faculty of Chemistry from the University of Belgrade, Faculty of Mechanical Engineering, Institute of Vinča. So I really sincerely invite our investors today to meet them, since they are like the constant drivers of our improvement. Since we covered the university section, I would just like to mention that chemical industry in Serbia wouldn't be possible without our robust vocational programs. And of course, the best national program that actually has implemented it is dual education system. Just to tackle into statistic a little bit. So there are 132 vocational schools related to chemical majors with 41,000 active technical students. And with regard to dual education, since Nemanja explained the whole statistic part, I would just like to mention the most important regarding chemical industry. That is the fact that there are over 2/3 of all dual education programs that are actually STEM oriented. And speaking of constant improvements, I would really like to finish this presentation with the breaking news. So we are creating Bio4 campus, and that is the most significant national project at the moment, and actually Serbian biotechnology breakthrough. So what does Bio4 stands for? It stands for biomedicine, biotechnology, bioinformatics, and biodiversity. Bio4 campus will have strong government support for all those investors and entrepreneurs that are going to be engaged within the campus. Also, it will have strong government support within R&D and production infrastructure. Nevertheless, Bio4 campus will enable creation of biotech startup hub. Of course, most notable Serbian scientific universities will be breeding ground of the biotech startup hub, as well as the universities and faculties. So guys, that was like the brief overview of chemical landscape in Serbia. And now I would like to kindly ask Mr. Matias Predović from Elixir Group to take the floor and present Elixir Group and the first chemical park in Serbia. So here you go, Matias.
Thank you, Dunja. Thank you very much. Thank you, one more time. Thank you, Nemanja. Welcome, everybody. I'm really delighted to speak in front of such of an audience, and it's a great honor to Elixir Group to present Industrial Chemical Park, the first chemical park, Southeast Europe. Shortly about the Elixir Group. We are a privately owned company. We employ 1,600 people, and we have two major production sites, one in Šabac and one in Prahovo, which I want to go more into detail today. We are the leader in the chemical industry in Southeast Europe. We are one of the 6 plants who produce phosphoric acid. Phosphoric acid is a major raw material using for production of NPK fertilizers. Today we heard also about e-mobility. So phosphoric acid in a pure form is also used in the production of e-battery cars. So also for this type, we will make a future plant to be also in this chain of e-mobility. 70% of our products we make, 1 million tons a year, we export. We are very proud of it. So of course, fertilizers are a commodity and sold mostly in a radius of 600,000, 700,000, 800,000 kilometers. But we are very proud that we export into 82 countries, from Asia to South America, to clients which are connected, of course, to our company. But we are representing Serbia there, mainly, of course, in Europe, but very proud that also products are moving so far. The total turnover is 300 million euro. And why we are today here talking, so we recognize that the chemical park to bundling is the success of the chemical industry. Chemical industry is a high volume industry, so to have a good access and good logistics is very essential and crucial. You know already now from the presentation, Belgrade as the city center, our headquarters in Novi Sad, the central northern part of Vojvodina region, and the river Sava coming from Slovenia to Croatia, in Serbia entering into the Danube at the Belgrade. But what I want to highlight today is the Danube River, which are closely connected our plant in Prahovo, and both plants are connected by rail and water. As we talk from chemicals, is a high volume. We need a very good, also CO2 carbon footprint logistics. The Danube River is the second longest in Europe with 2,700 kilometers coming from Germany, crossing 10 countries. It's the largest number of countries in the world. The Danube is crossing 10 countries before entering in Romania to the Black Sea. Also 4 capitals to mention: Vienna from Austria, and also Bratislava, Belgrade, Budapest in Hungary, and of course Belgrade. The Danube River is crossing. As we presented today many times, Serbia. We know today we are happy to be here in Dubai. I want to join you to visit, to see Prahovo, because I'm quite sure nobody have been else before in Prahovo. So please join me. We're traveling, first of all, to Europe, and then you will see where Prahovo is. Prahovo is on the southeast border with Bulgaria and Romania. We prepared a movie. Please enjoy it.
The exceptional strategic location of Prahovo in southeastern Europe, on the bank of the Danube, right on the tri-point border of Serbia, Romania and Bulgaria, makes it an ideal location for the first industrial chemical park in Serbia. Towards the east, Prahovo is connected by the Danube to the Black Sea and the port of Constanza, an important international hub for maritime traffic. Towards the west, it's connected to all the countries of the Danube River Basin and through the Rhine-Main-Danube Canal to Rotterdam and the North Sea. There is an extensive network of industrial rail tracks within the port, and the whole existing complex is connected to the Serbian railway system and the international rail network. The Prahovo industrial complex is also connected by rail to the Bor smelting basin, a producer of cathodic copper and an important producer of sulfuric acid, a basic raw material for many branches of the chemical industry. Prahovo is connected by about 50 kilometers of road to Vidin in Bulgaria and Calafat in Romania, both of which are important road and rail hubs on European Corridor 4. A 150-kilometer highway also connects it to European Corridor 10, which links Serbia to other European countries. Prahovo International Port on the Danube is one of the key advantages of the site, as it provides the most efficient transportation to numerous markets. Elixir Group is the operator of the port of Prahovo, which has 700 meters of operational quay, 7 berths for river vessels, and facilities for receiving and handling all types of cargo from river barges, rail trains, and transport trucks. The current transshipment capacity is about 2 million tons per year. The development plan involves expanding the port area, increasing the annual transshipment capacity to 3.5 million tons, and building new closed and open warehouses in the port. Industrial water supply is provided through its own pumping station on the Danube, with a capacity of 4 times 650 cubic meters per hour. Electrical supply is provided through a dedicated high-voltage transformer station with a total power of 2 times 31.5 megavolt amps. The system has dual power lines and is directly connected to the Gjerdap 2 hydroelectric power plant. Steam supply is through a system of insulated steam lines to each consumer. Current steam production is 55 tons per hour. The development plan of the industrial complex in Prahovo covers a total area of 300 hectares, of which 115 hectares is intended for construction of an industrial chemical park comprising several technological units. The chemical park is intended for building new production facilities for the chemical industry. The industrial park is envisaged for the activities of other branches of industry. The energy island is intended for construction of infrastructure and energy capacity needed for the chemical park. Plant for pyrolysis of plastic waste. Incineration plant for solid and liquid industrial and non-recyclable waste with utilization of heat energy and new capacity for steam production. In addition, plant for demineralized process water, water cooling towers, compressed air center. Warehouse and logistics center with rail and road terminal, central plant for final wastewater treatment after appropriate initial treatment at production sites, central administration building with shared facilities. Site infrastructure for production plants includes an internal traffic network, underground and above-ground corridors with all necessary installations. The environment island of 10 hectares, as an important part of the waste management system, is intended for disposal of industrial waste residues from the plants. Plans are in place for extension and long-term development of a modern storage area for phosphogypsum as a byproduct of phosphoric acid production. The configuration of the site allows for further development of production facilities and expansion of the industrial chemical park. The ultimate development goal of Prahovo Industrial Chem Park is an effective logistics infrastructure and a complete range of the utilities which operators of developed chemical parks in Europe provide for their clients. There is a range of advantages and benefits for investors in Prahovo Industrial Chem Park. Availability of raw materials, access to multiple markets, workforce and education, corporate profit tax, price of electricity, incentives for foreign investors in Serbia. The Elixir Group also focuses on the development of human resources through collaboration with all education institutions, scholarships, and setting up an education and training center. HR projects are aimed at motivating young people to seek career development in the chemical industry. The group also assists employees with housing and relocation. One important HR project is the phased construction of Elixir Garden, a residential commercial development in an attractive location in Negotin. Among its other benefits, this will provide important support for further HR development as well as expansion of the activities of Prahovo Industrial Chem Park. Opportunities ahead.
So now we know where Prahovo is located, southeast Serbia. We heard that Serbia is investing a lot in infrastructure, what is very important to have a very good road access, of course, but for chemicals, railway and river is the most important. We are with the railway connecting to international railways, also by port connection, only 630 kilometers to Constanza, very important hub where we can reach globally all around the world. So we are very well connected to the east, but also to the Western countries, to Germany, even up to Rotterdam. We are on a very, very efficient logistics way. First, I want to go more into detail after the presentation, our current production site. We are located on 60 hectares. We produce phosphoric acid, NPK mineral fertilizers, and aluminum trifluoride. We are offering to our clients and to, of course, potential investors to come on two phases. We have an industrial chemical site or more than 100 hectares, and then also in the second phase. Worth to mention, very important, also, of course, lowering carbon dioxide emissions and create a sustainable production. We are connected through overhead lines to our transformer station, which has a power of 63 megawatt amps, CO2 neutral from a hydropower plant electricity. We have industrial water pumping station with 4,000 cubic meter. We have inside 25 kilometers our own railway tracks, and we are operating the port of Prahovo, currently 2 million tons, and we are increasing capacity up to 3.5 million tons. Very important after raw material is the energy supply in every chemical park. Currently, we use fossil fuel like burning coal, but from 2023, latest 2024, we are currently under construction of the first waste to energy plant for industrial waste in Serbia. Industrial waste is not allowed to landfill, so it's exported in the moment, but the first industrial waste to energy plant will collect all the waste and burn it on site. The Serbian state will invest in a new transformer station. The gas pipeline will also come to our site. Will be invested in a central wastewater treatment plant, and also road infrastructure to the park and around the park will be invested by Serbian government. We from our side as well will build an internal transformer station. We will completely make the natural gas grid and build a second line of a waste to energy plant once we finish the 2024. In large volumes, when we talk about chemicals, the logistics is not only anymore a port, so it's a complete solution. With the port, we will connect the hinterland, so also all the warehouses and all the railways will be connected in a logistical hub, where we are working currently on a concept that will be implemented within the next 2 years. Services through a centralized port operator, our company Alicia Craft is of course the access, then the park security, centralized fire brigade, but also all kind of centralized services like maintenance, steam supply, electricity supply, waste handling, wastewater treatment. We will do it all through one company. Related to why in Serbia, we heard it perfectly from my previous colleagues and speakers, but more to mention, the workforce is very important, of course, quite very efficient workforce available, high technical grade, and almost the lowest salaries in the region. Even in chemicals, when you talk, the salaries are not the most important. Of course, the key drivers in cost are raw materials, energy, and then the available workforce. But we have it. Then the electricity prices, very, very low. And even in our case, CO2 neutral because of a hydropower plant. Corporate profit tax, the lowest in the region. And then, of course, maybe not so crucial because in chemical industry, once you come and build a plant and operate it, you talk about 40, 50, 60 years. But grants, tax reliefs are, of course, also a nice gift when investors look to come. To round up everything, the most important, what we heard today about education, training center, what we also intend to invest, and we already partially have a practical training center, is a living area. We are very, very glad to announce that we bought the land of 5.5 hectares and we will start the construction by end of next year. 2 kilometers out of Negotin, 8 kilometers from our production site, where we are quite sure that also our employees, but employees from future investors will have a very nice area to live with their families. We have a shopping mall and with all our necessaries like kindergartens and so on. We are waiting for you, of course. I think this is not only a promise. We invite you all, please come to Serbia. I think my colleagues from the development agency, from the Chamber of Commerce will do all the best. And of course, from industry side, please feel free to contact me anytime. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Attention, now we have a few questions. So I will ask colleagues from the Development Energy Serbia to assist. So the question number one from the online, from Mr. Arturo. So how competitive is Serbia in labor and electricity compared to the major Eastern European countries?
Thank you very much. What's the name of the gentleman once again? Mr. Tudor, thank you very much for asking this question. It is true that I actually went very quickly through that part, but I will just briefly go once again through it. So, to Eastern Europe was the question, if I'm not mistaken. So if we actually compare ourselves to what is being done in Eastern Europe, as you can see here, compared to Romania, Slovakia, or Hungary, Serbia's gross average monthly salary is very competitive. In terms of corporate profit tax, it's 15% compared to 16 and 19% in average in the region. Then if we speak about office space per month, you can see here that Serbia is very competitive in this segment too, especially Belgrade, compared to Bucharest, Warsaw, and Budapest, the capitals of Eastern European countries. And in terms of the electricity, please bear with me now, we had the lowest electricity cost in Europe, basically, in this part of Europe, of course, prior to this crisis that hit us on a European level. Of course, if we compare ourselves to, for example, Western Europe or EU 28 average, in some cases, we will be 2 times more competitive than them. But if we compare ourselves to Romania and Slovakia, I guess that slides speak on itself.
Question number one, sorry, question number two, I guess again you, because it's about the automotive industry.
Okay.
So the question is, are there any ongoing talks with the automotive companies in producing equipment or manufacturers regarding setting new or expanding production facilities in Serbia? Of special interest is production of EV vehicles.
Okay, that's a very nice question. However, we are not allowed to disclose any information in regards to what's being discussed internally with the government and with whom we can discuss it. So sorry, but because of the NDA agreements that we have in charge, we are not able to answer this question.
So no more questions from the online visitors. Any questions from the audience? Please raise your hand.
Anything from the audience?
If not, I guess we will continue downstairs for the networking. Thank you
Yeah, of
everyone
course.
for
Thank you.
coming and supporting the conference. And looking forward to see you soon again. Thank you
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.